Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday, July 11th, 2018 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. The Planning and Zoning Commission is a citizen advisory group to the City Council, charged with making recommendations concerning land use plans, planning processes, and/or on matters of plan implementation. All regular meetings of the Planning and Zoning Commission are recorded for record retention and transcription. The following is the official agenda of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Discussion and commission action will be limited to those items on the agenda. Any citizen who wishes to address the commission shall first be recognized by the chair and shall give his or her name and address for the record. If a citizen wishes to read documentation of any sort to the commission, he or she shall first seek permission from the chair. Oral testimony may be restricted to no more than 3 minutes per person. Agenda item number 1 is the roll call and disclosure of conflict of interest, ex parte communication, and site visit. So for this, Aislinn, if we could have you call the roll, and if each commissioner would please state their name, what area they're from, and if there's anything they need to disclose.
Jared Burnt.
My name is Jared Burnt. I live in the Highland area. I made a site visit to agenda item number 3 today. I have nothing to report.
Sean Hargraves.
My name is Sean Hargraves. I live in the University neighborhood. I have nothing else to report.
Sarah O'Connor.
My name is Sarah O'Connor. I reside in the college neighborhood and I have nothing to report.
Julia Sanders.
My name is Julia Sanders. I live in the South Pike area. I completed a site visit to agenda item number 3 and have nothing further to report.
Ryan Satterfield.
I'm Ryan Satterfield from the Highland area. Nothing to report.
And Bill Hancock is excused this evening.
Very good, thank you. Now, agenda item number 2, approval of minutes. Oh yeah, we missed Jack. Aislinn.
My bad. Jack Moore.
My name's Jack Moore, and I live in the Old Town District, and I did a site visit to agenda item 3, and I have nothing else to report.
Very good, thank you, Jack. All right, agenda item number 2 is the approval of minutes. Commissioners, if there's any items of discussion for the minutes, please bring those forward. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve the minutes as written.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Aislinn, would you call the vote?
O'Connor.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Burnt.
Yes.
Hargraves.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Yes.
Satterfield.
All right, motion carries. Agenda item number 3, preliminary plat, Lilac Subdivision. Steve Theobald, represented by Tim Knetz with the engineer surveyor Rocky Mountain Engineering and Surveying, have submitted a request to subdivide 2.99 acres, more or less, into 13 residential lots located on east of Lilac Street. So if we could start by hearing from the applicant.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commission members. My name is Brady Smith with Rocky Mountain Engineering and Surveying, 600 East Oak Street, Pocatello, Idaho. What you have here before you tonight, let me zoom this out a little bit, kind of give you an idea of where we're located. So to the north of us here is Quinn Road. You can kind of see the Pine Ridge Mall out here in the northeast corner. And then as you head south, you guys might be familiar with the Dave Packer apartment job that's been before you here some months ago. And just south of that, off of Lilac Street, there's some existing pasture ground here that has been a nice opportunity for our client to do some infill. As we've worked with staff, as was stated in the preliminary explanation of this, there are 13 lots total, 12 of which would be built upon, and then we have one lot that would be handling our stormwater here at the phase line, if you will, between the existing neighborhood on Lilac Street and what we're proposing new. To give you a little background, we initially came through and proposed this to the city with a 150-foot, I guess, right-of-way that would be ultimately dedicated to the city. And as we had kind of worked through some of the details with city staff, it was decided that it would be in their best interest, as well as our clients, to actually pull that back and actually just make a temporary turnaround that would be within an easement. They've spoken with the fire department, and that has been, clear to do. And so what I've done is kind of wanted to show you a couple of modifications that would actually be kind of the nature of what would be changing. So in the yellow here, you can kind of see where our existing limits were, and we will actually be pulling that completely back to here and just having a fire department approved turnaround, again, that would be housed within an easement. The curb and the gutter will all be continued through, and the sidewalk, just in a straight fashion, and then there will just be a curb cut approach that would actually allow them to have access to make that turning movement. So we will be probably addressing some lot lines, but we won't be adding any density more than what we have right now. We'll still be targeting the 12 residential lots, but certainly by eliminating all this area, there's going to be some reconfiguration to those lot lines. We are bringing sewer right here off of Lilac Street. There's an existing manhole that we're extending to the west and providing a stub for future expansion as well. Water, the same thing. There was a comment that I think we're good with as far as the city needing to, I guess, abandon some sort of an existing meter service that's there currently, but I'll let Meryl speak more to that. Stormwater is fairly simple. We're basically fortunate that the ground kind of lends itself draining from west to east, and we're going to basically collect everything from this project at these two catch basins and then into a stormwater retention pond. We are going to still extend water and sewer to the north to these two larger lots through that easement, and I believe the city is also in agreement with that at staff level. And we will still be able to provide this configuration, but it will just be within an easement, not a right-of-way. Everything seems to be working fine with our water pressures. We actually were a little nervous when we started that we were going to have to loop this water line up to the north and tie in to, I believe it's Cottage, that runs here east to west. And so before we got too far along, the developer decided to go ahead and do a water modeling report and submit that to the water department for approval so that we could actually forego that connection, and our numbers satisfied their requirements, so they allowed us to stub just to the westerly property line and end it. So we were able to support the numbers that they needed to see, and they allowed us the word fails me at the moment, but basically a waiver is the word I'm looking for, so that we do not have to continue this to the north. That being said, if we do expand to the west in the future, or either our developer or someone in the future, there is a condition that would need to be looped at that time, just to give you a little history there. So we've got our water, our sewer, and our storm all within the city standards, and with this new change, I believe we'll meet our fire department turnaround, as well as, a nice improved street that the city can be happy with. So that's pretty much all I have, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Excellent. Thank you, Brady. Any questions for Brady?
So where the fire turnaround and the road extends north, is that going to be finished off now, or is that going to be finished off later?
So
where the yellow is?
The yellow will actually be gone. So
Okay.
I was just trying to kind of show you what would remain. So this gray area here where this hand is really all that will be built and paved. There will be curb, gutter, and sidewalk that will extend through. So this will basically just be a true straight extension of Lilac Street. There will not be any curb, gutter, or sidewalk going north.
So you got the lot to the west, then you're going to have access, then the lot to the east.
Correct.
Okay.
There'll be an easement essentially running between it. We're not exactly sure on the width on that. We need to just make sure that we meet our radiuses for that approach, which is 28 feet. So my first thought is it's going to be around 30 feet. So there'll be a lot, a 30-foot easement, and another lot, and then we'll continue to the east.
Cool.
And then there will be obviously private drives for these two back lots that will extend off of this current turnaround. But the fire department only requires a 70-foot distance here, so that's what we've done.
Other questions? And I assume that you're all okay with the condition for the improvements on the Lilac Street right there. And
Yes, thanks for bringing that up. I'm sorry, I actually meant to discuss that. So there is a condition that we will actually improve, working with staff, both at the planning level and also like the street department, to figure out where that makes the most sense to tie in. But we will saw cut it to a neat line and then taper it out to match ours. And I think there's possibly some other planning that's going to happen on Lilac in the next maybe few years to get that more updated. But as of right now, they're just asking us to extend the paving to make it a good drivable surface, and we're willing to do that.
very good. Okay, thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Brady. Carl, if we could have the staff report.
Good evening, Commission. My name is Carl Anderson, Senior Planner, City of Pocatello, for the record. Before you have for consideration the preliminary plat for the Lilac subdivision submitted by Steve Theobald and represented by Tim Kmetz. The engineer listed on the application is Rocky Mountain Engineering and Surveying. The subject property is located at the west end of Lilac Street, which will be extended and provide access to the proposed subdivision. The proposal is for a 13-lot subdivision, including 12 buildable residential lots, encompassing 2.99 acres more or less. The zoning for the property is residential medium-density single-family, which requires 5,000 square feet minimum lot size for a single-family home. Currently, the smallest lot being proposed is 5,200 square feet. Staff has reviewed the application and finds that the proposed Lilac subdivision is compliant with all applicable standards of City Code 16.20.050, assuming compliance with the conditions listed in the staff report. That will conclude my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, and Merrill Bell from Public Works is also here to answer any questions that the Commission may have.
Very good. Thank you, Carl. Any questions for Carl? Any questions for Merrill? Do we need to bring him forward? All right, thank you, Carl. Very good, Commissioners. The item is before you. Any discussion that we would like to have?
It's just a comment that you made, is that at my site visit today, where the new road and the old road meet up is not like in fantastic shape. And so just for note, to make sure that everything's approved and looks great.
Yeah, I think that's the plan, and I think it's to their advantage as well to have that look good coming into the subdivision. So, yeah. Any other discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
A motion to recommend approval of the preliminary plat application from owner Steve Theobald for the Lilac subdivision, finding the application does meet the standards for approval under Chapter 16.20.050 of Pocatello Municipal Code with the condition of approval.
Very good.
Second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Eastland, would you call the vote?
O'Connor,
Yes.
Hargreaves,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Satterfield.
Yes, motion carries. That concludes our meeting. We will now adjourn. Thank you.